All right, we are live. This is the Leafs Weekender debut. It's the Leafs Week in Review. What's going on? It's James from Offside Hockey Talk. You may remember this face from the prediction season videos all week long. And of course, we do the podcast as well. But this is my own little slice of heaven, my own little nirvana. Have a little fun, showcase some things. First, want to get it right out of the way. Huge shout out to Boxing Rock Brewing Co.'s Puck Off Lagerdale, the official beer of Offside Hockey Talk, and the official sponsor of the show as well. Shout out to everyone who's tuning in tonight. This one is going to be fun. It's the debut. We'll work out the kinks as we go, but here it is. Let's get into what we are and what we're about to do with the Leafs Weekender. So, how long? About 30 minutes at pop. We're going to go over the week that was, the week that will be. We'll talk about the good, the bad, the ugly with the Maple Leafs, and of course, we will dive into different little things, and then we have a special segment I'll save till the end so you can see exactly what it is. Now, we're going to be available exclusively on YouTube tonight. We're across all the platforms, getting everybody interested in jumping in to check this out. Huge shout out as well to our friends over at Fresh Prints. This is going to be fun every single week. The end, we'll check it out and get rocking and rolling. So without further ado, let's get going. So some news and notes for the Toronto Maple Leafs. We have Matthews finally hitting that big 50 goal, the weight off his shoulders, the weight off the team. You could tell they were forcing that puck, trying to get it to him to get that 50 goal mark, and he's been dying for it with COVID and shut down from injuries. You know, Matthews has been looking to get that 50 goal plateau under his belt and locked in. Finally got it. Then he nails 51. He is 3 goals away from tying the record and 4 goals away from breaking it. When we break down the games that are to come, I will tell you what game I think Austin Matthews is going to set the new franchise record in goals for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, another thing here, Boosh, happy he's back. Took that sucker punch. What a greasy little grubby play by Taylor Hall because he didn't like getting hit. He turned at the last second. He got him on the shoulder, hit him into the boards, gets up, drops his stick, sucker punches him. The Bruins player coming out of the bench, by the way, what the hell are you thinking? Corkscrewing a guy so he's completely defenseless. Can't defend himself. Going down, gets caught right on the head jaw area. And you know, Bush said that, hey, it didn't feel well, but he's back up in the mix, which is great. And a guy like Ilya Lyubushkin doesn't lay down just for nothing. This guy is serious. He likes to play, wouldn't leave his team shorthanded. And this right here shows me he's ready to rock and roll now. And the soup is back on, of course. Jack Soupy Campbell, a smile that goes on for miles back between the pipes last night for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Absolutely awesome. Seen him diving across the crease and doing all those acrobatic tight saves we've seen Jack do at the beginning of the season. Now he's back doing that last night. We'll see if he's any worse for wear going forward. A little news and notes on William Nylander. Took a hard hit last night. Didn't seem to like it too much afterwards. It's a little bit sheepish. And also took a puck off the foot. I believe was the right one during that game. Was not a practice today. They're calling it an illness. I think Willie Nylander's a little rattled up. We may not see him tomorrow night against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Another player that we definitely won't see and has been moved now to the LTIR. And I don't want to say the big C word, but concussion for Mr. Ondrej Kase. We have not seen him. We know what happened. It did not look good when he was taken off the ice. He did go on his own power, but he has not been back, not been skating with the team. That leads me to believe this may be the big C word for Ondrej Kase, and maybe the Leafs just shut him down until the absolute last minute, maybe a couple of games before the playoffs to get him in on this roster to be playing with the team. But you look at that and say concussion, never something you want to toy with. You look at how long they've taken with Jake Muzzin as they move him along very slowly to get back to the lineup. But I definitely think that Ondrej Kase won't be back until at least the last minute before the playoffs. And then speaking of the man we just talked about, Jake Muzzin, out of the red no contact jersey into the regular jersey. He will not play tomorrow night per Keefe in Tampa. I don't think that means he'll play in Florida either unless there's an injury. Speaking with Terry Koshan last week, he said the Leafs are not going to rush any of these guys back just for the fact that they want them in the lineup. They'll take their time as all they can. I think you see Mr. Jake Muzzin back with the Toronto Maple Leafs against the Dallas Stars. I know Clark Monroe is watching this, shaking his head. Hey, I said Jack would be back Saturday, and I said he would be back on Monday. I'm 50% right. I'll take it every single day of the week. If you give me a 50% shot at something, I'm good. So, Jake Muzzin back against the Dallas Stars. I think so. Why do I say that? Well, it gives him Friday's practice. It gives him today's practice. And then it gives him probably the practice they would play or do or the skate after the back-to-back there before they go to Dallas. That gives Jake Muzzin plenty of time to acclimate whoever he's going to be playing with and get himself rocking and rolling. Now, let's talk about the week that was for the Toronto Maple Leafs. As the Leafs roll this week, 3 victories over the Bruins, Jets, and Flyers. The Bruins game, something that troubles me here about the Bruins game. You look at what they did, coming out scoring. Colin Blackwell gets on the board right away. Absolutely awesome for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But the problem here is you go out to a big lead, the game gets a little chippy. The Leafs really aren't built for that. And a lot of things I was seeing on social media was, hey, you dressed a guy like Clifford. Why isn't he out there gooning it up and fighting people and banging around? Well, the problem is the Boston Bruins, they absolutely eat that shit up with a silver spoon. They'll be chomping on that all night long. They want you to retaliate. They want you to get in scrums and mix it up and muck it up because that's the Boston Bruin way. So the Leafs knew that. The Leafs had a big lead. Why had to go goon it up and do dumb stuff? It's not going to help your game. It's not going to push it any further. It's just going to amp up the TD Garden, which we know is a raucous building when the Leafs are there. These two teams have had plenty of renewed hostilities, if you will. So you look at this and you say, okay, so everybody's chirping, why isn't Clifford doing his job? Rah, rah, rah. He is doing his job. He's out there if something stupid happens and he has to interject himself, but he's not going out there looking for it. He's not going out there just to settle something down because it's a little bit of a chip shot or whatever it is. The Ilya Lyubushkin thing, everybody's saying he should have jumped Hall. Well, how good would it look if Clifford jumped Hall? You think of Jay Beagle beating on Troy Terry this week. It doesn't look good, right? It's not a good look for a goon, a big guy, to be beaten down on a smaller player. So I think Clifford did it right in the Boston game. Toronto did really well in that game, protecting Shalgren as well. When Petr Mrazek went down, the glass groin story continues, by the way, and we will get to that in one of our segments here tonight. But they beat the Boston Bruins 6-4. And hey, side note here, guys, I am going to clear my throat. I don't have a mute button. I'm all by myself. So this is a flow show right here. I will clear my throat. Still battling COVID, still getting over it. So apologies for that if it doesn't sound so great, but we'll get in the rhythm. You know me. I get in the rhythm every single time. Let's rock and roll. So yeah, they beat the Bruins 6-4. The problem I have is the tail end of that game, letting your foot off the gas. The Toronto Maple Leafs are famous for this. Luckily, they had enough of a cushion where it did not blow back in their face. But this is something that definitely can be a problem with the Leafs going forward. And you already see the comments from Sheldon Keefe of what he wants to take care of and wants this team to take care of. And that is to play with consistency for a full 60 minutes, whether it's against a playoff contending team or a team that is already out of the race. They definitely want the Maple Leafs to be locked, loaded, and focused. And Sheldon Keefe touched on that. And we'll talk about that at the tail end of the Flyers game wrap. But the Leafs let their foot off the gas. They end up being 6-4 over the Bruins when it could be a larger, wider margin. But they keep Beantown with a victory. They put a whooping on the Boston Bruins. Absolutely awesome. Pumped up for that. Then the game everybody's talking about. Everybody stops. Grab your popcorn. Grab your pop. Whatever you need. This one here is on the marquee. It's been circled since the Neil Pionk, since the Spetsani, since all the garbage between Matthews and Dubois. Everybody getting excited for this one. And the Leafs come out and they whoop the Winnipeg Jets 7-3. But it's not all sunshine and roses, Leafs Nation. They dropped the first 2 goals. And in a team that is battling for their playoff lives, that could have spelled disaster for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But luckily, it did not. I digress. The Leafs were able to rebound and come back and pick up the victory in that game. The thing I liked the most was when it took time to be physical, Simmer was there. Cliffy was there. I like what Sheldon Keefe did. I love Blackwell. I love what he's brought. He battles along the boards, does all the little things like a Zach Hyman did, wearing the same number, by the way. He'll go fish the puck. He's not a scared guy at 5'9". Everybody chirps him, but guess what? So was Tucker. So was Roberts. So was Domi. They weren't big guys. So guess what? Blackwell fits the bill. But this game here, they went with a heavy line, a vet line of Spezza, Clifford, and Simmons, and they got the job done. I don't like this thing. And I know on the Flyer game, he was finally allowed to drop the mitts and get going. I don't like the notion they keep breaking Simmons up before it becomes a fight, before they allow him to actually lock up and engage. It really seems like the refs are jumping in there quickly, and I know they want to get fighting out of the game. I know that, but I really want to see if there's a score to be settled, like Logan Stanley and Wayne Simmons, or whoever he wanted to go after on the Winnipeg Jets. You should allow them to settle that score and get it done, get it over with, and basically pay the piper, so to speak. But it was not allowed to happen. The Toronto Maple Leafs did do their beating up on the scoreboard. Willie Nylander, by the way, dropped to the third line, scoring 2 power play goals. Here's the thing, too. Everybody's complaining about Keefe putting things in the blender. What do we know about the playoffs? A lot of injuries happen, and you have to know what guys can play with what guys. So when you get to that situation, you can roll them out with confidence, knowing they have continuity and flow into the playoffs. Now, what draws the ire of the coach is the fact these guys sometimes maybe take their foot off the gas, don't do what they need to do, and it becomes a Willie Nylander situation, which we will get to later on. So, Leafs beat the Winnipeg Jets 7-3, 2-0 on the week, looking great, flying high, loving life. You come in on Saturday night, hockey night in Canada, the big game, and you're looking, hey, Jack Campbell's back. Absolutely pumped up, comes off the injury, and he's coming in, and he's looking great, by the way, right off the get-go. But what I'm noticing is the Leafs are kind of hanging him out to dry, and it's absolutely blowing my mind. Like, what are you doing? This is your guy. This is your goaltender, and he's out there stopping pucks left, right, and center, eating them for breakfast. Nom, nom, nom. This is delicious, and you're not doing anything to support him. I don't understand why you come out and lay an egg like that. I don't know what's going on there with the team starting slow, but we talked about the Winnipeg game. It bled into the Flyer game, trying to get things going, get rolling. You look at Kevin Hayes, a guy that's good with the beacon, and if he scores first, you know he's going to be all over you with that and just chirp, 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 chirp. The Leafs were able to rebound Wayne Simmons with the ugliest goal I think we'll ever see, and he said it himself. It was not a pretty biscuit going in the net, but they all count on the score sheet. Timothy Liljegren, by the way, hello, scores against Boston and now Philly. All right, let's roll. Huge, 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 huge. By the way, shout out Mark Giordano playing against the Boston Bruins, scoring his first goal as a Maple Leafs. Tip of the cap to him. But the Flyers game for me, the worry that I had was the Toronto Maple Leafs just need to always be starting on time, especially at this time of the year. You can't let things get away from you. You can't let the game be one that you're constantly chasing, letting it be things that are a problem, an issue. It doesn't work. It doesn't work now. It won't work in the playoffs. You need to come prepared. People say that's on the coach. People say that's on the leadership in the room. And then on the broadcast, they're talking, oh, the Leafs are worried about playing Tampa and Florida on Monday and Tuesday. Well, no, the Leafs should be focused and ready for what's on the table in front of them, and that is the Philadelphia Flyers, a team that is eliminated from the postseason, but they are going to be putting in rookies who want to make a name for themselves. And we all know what happens when guys want to make a name for themselves. Either they're running around crashing and banging, or they're trying to show up and show out against some of the league's best players to put themselves on the map. And you know what? That's what happens. You go down, Kevin Hayes scores, the Leafs score 2, Provorov gets it back, it's 2-2. It's a game where you start gripping your stick, and then, of course, the Leafs take it over. And oh my, the shorthand, oh my, Pierre Engvall, oh my, Ilya Mikheyev, and we'll talk about those guys in just a little bit. Now, here's the fun part. For the Toronto Maple Leafs, we'll put the rest of the week there. You can't complain with a 3-0. The Leafs go out and score themselves, 21 goals on the week. Not too bad. 21 to what? 21 to 10. They outscore their opponents this week. Absolutely beautiful barn burner style hockey. They're going to want to tighten that up. Obviously, they can score as many as they want in the playoffs. They want to keep that number to 3 or less. I definitely believe so, especially for Campbell. He wants to make sure that number is down, and he wants to make sure he secures a do, re, mi, fa, lo, so, ti, do. Oh, when he gets his new contract, you know it. Guys, still coming out of that COVID, but I'm absolutely pumped up to talk this. This is the Leafs Weekender, by the way, brought to you by Boxing Rock Brewing Co.'s Puck Off Lagerdale. Be sure to check it out. And our friends over at Fresh Prints, they're dropping us some shirts this week. Cannot wait to see what those look like. All right, the look ahead. This is the next part here on the Weekender. What do the Leafs have on the agenda this week? We have 4 games, 1 back-to-back. We go into Tampa. We have Florida. We have Dallas. And then we have Les Habitants on Saturday night. So let's break down the week here. We got Tampa, the team that we're chasing the most and want to be ahead of, I do believe. I think that's the Brass's mentality to stay ahead of Boston and Tampa. The division lead would be nice, but, Florida's kind of running away with that. So I'm looking for us to want to be in second place here, have home ice against Tampa or Boston in the first round. So what do you do in that game? You start Campbell. That's the guy I would go to here. The game that that you could probably win against the Tampa Bay Lightning, a team that I think is running out of gas, to be dead honest. A team that's gone to 2 cup finals, a team that's been battle-tested, battling hard, spending all the assets. I really think this is a team that you can go in there. I know their offensive firepower. I know what they're capable of. But some teams at the bottom of the standings have been feeding on this one, and the Leafs offense has been powering lately. So you go into Tampa, you look to pick up those 2 points and sit yourself up. It's a 4-point swing playing these teams. Sit yourself up above them and Boston. That's what you need to do, much like you did against Boston this week. Next, we got Florida. You look at the Florida Panthers, leader of the division, have already secured themselves a playoff berth. Congratulations to them. Tip of the cap. It's been a long time since there's been sustainable, successful hockey for the Florida Panthers. You put Shalgren between the pipes, and you hope that everybody shows up and is on their A1 tippy toes to get this one done. Nick Abrizi looks like he's going to be in the lineup. The fourth line is going to be something that's going to be auditioned, swung back and forth until they decide what they're doing. I really think they're waiting on Matthew Nyes to get done with the Frozen Four so they can see where he slots in with this squad. I really in my heart of hearts think they have a second line feeling for him. And we'll see if that is where he ends up. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is that slots everybody else down, which then locks in your fourth line a little bit more. Maybe a Blackwell, Kerfoot, Spezza, whoever you want on that line there. I know that they definitely want more speed over crash and bang, so we'll see what happens. But you definitely start Shalgren against Florida. You go in, you hope for 2 points, but if you can't, you can't. You go down to Florida and you get to work. You get the 2 out of Tampa. You're happy with a split. I say they go 1-1 there. Obviously, as the optimist, everybody wants a 2-0, but it's both powerhouse Florida teams. Feels weird to say that. But I think you come out 1-1. You beat Tampa and you lose to Florida. You come out happy on that one. Then, day off, you head over to Dallas. This is where I think Jake Muzzin makes his return. I think this gives him another opportunity for the practice Friday, the practice Sunday, and then a game day skate, practice, whatever they decide to do before the Dallas game that day before or the morning of. That gives him the opportunity to get in three reps, get acclimated. I know he's been with the team, but actual physical contact and all that stuff is a whole hell of a lot different than just getting in there and slotting in. So I think that's where you slide him in there in the Dallas game, get him locked and loaded, and see what he can bring. That one there is the Muzzin return. I think you start Jack Campbell as well. You want to make sure you pick up another 2 points. Everybody's going to say, well, hey, Jack Campbell is a guy who loves rhythm, guys. Loves rhythm. He talked about it a lot. Loves to be in a rhythm. So if this is what he needs to keep himself going, keep him playing as much as you can. He's rested. He's been out of the lineup for a while, if you haven't noticed. And then you keep going. You look for the 2 points there. You go 2-1 on the week. That's not too bad. Here's the one that's the fly in the ointment, if you will. It's the trip up point. It's the shock game. It's the trap game, whatever you want to call it. It's the game against the Habs. Now, the game against the Habs, we struggle against them. It doesn't matter what you say. The Habs come out wanting to play. They got some young guys on there that want to make some noise. They got a Brendan Gallagher who likes to be beaking and chirping and having fun. So I'm looking for that game right there to go to Shalgren. Reason why I say that, you want to give him another game. Everyone's going to say, well, it's maybe an easier game for Jack Campbell. Again, I know we just talked about him needing continuity and needing to get those reps and rolling and pushing and playing. But I really think this week you give him 2 games. You give him the Tampa-Dallas game, give Shalgren Florida and the Habs, see where Jack is at after the Dallas game. But I really think you go ahead and give that one to Shalgren. Allow the team to roll there. Whatever you're doing with your fourth line, substitute guys in and out. I think you'll see a lot of line juggling going in the Habs game. So you'll see players up on different lines doing different things, much like against the Flyers, just to try to get some flow and feel of who can work with who as the season moves on here. And as you get closer to the postseason, where you'll need to A, either shorten your bench, or B, mix it up when you need some mojo. We've seen what Boston does with Pasternak, moving him up and down to give different looks and throw fits on the defense. So the Leafs could do the same thing with the a la Mitch Marner. So let's see if that happens. All right. So there you have it. We have the week that was. We were 3-0. We have the week that will be, which the Leafs are taking on Tampa, Florida, Dallas, and the Habs. I have them going 3-1 that week. I have a 50-50 split with Campbell playing 2 games and Shalgren playing 2 games as well. I see the return of Jake Muzzin on Thursday. And why do I say that again? 3 practices will give him time to acclimate to the physical contact and his defensive partner in that role. He'll be back against Dallas. That's in my heart of heart. I think the Leafs beat Tampa, they beat Dallas, and they beat the Habs. For some reason, don't feel them beating the Florida Panthers. Hey, if they do, beautiful. But you want that 4-point swing against Tampa. That is the game that is on your bulletin board. You want that one. All right. So there we go. We got it done. We got the news and notes done. We rocked up the week that was, the week that will be. And now we're going to slide right in here to a little segment I want to call on the Leafs Weekender, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then we'll debut a fun segment to kick off the ending of the show. But hey, so the good, guys, the good. Whew, it good. It's delicious. It's crack a beer, delicious. By the way, shout out to Boxing Rock, sponsor of the show. Hey, shorthanded. We are first in the league in shorthanded goals. That is amazing. And off the backs of guys like Mitch Marner, Pierre Engvall, Ilya Mikheyev. These guys are getting it done. Shout out, by the way, to Ilya Mikheyev and Pierre Engvall. That hit that Pierre Engvall took to dish the puck to Mikheyev, who not only didn't just fire it in the goaltender, but settled it down and laced a beautiful shot. These guys are coming together. They're stepping into their own. Clarky, if you're watching, I know you do not have the biggest favor on for Mr. Pierre Engvall, but he's got to be growing on you. He's got to be that itch you can't reach or scratch, because Pierre Engvall's finally bringing it. He's doing what he needs to do. Same thing with Ilya Mikheyev this season, finally shooting the puck. So those guys make it onto my good list. And here's the other one. The soup is on. There is soup for you. Jack Campbell comes back. He's diving across the crease. He's making pad saves. He's going post to post. It does not look like he has any issues. And here's the other thing. I really do think him being off with the rib injury gave him a mental reset as well, to calm the waters, calm the noise, refocus, and re-get himself ready for the rest of this season. It really looks like Jack is back. And who cannot do without that smile that goes on for Miles? Jack, we're happy you're back, man. The soup is on and it's hot. Last night looking good for a Leafs team that wasn't doing so darn well. Now, here we go. We're going to go with the bad, and everybody's going to have their comments here, but let's just sit down for a second. Problem for me, the Maple Leafs starting on time. This has crept in the past couple of weeks. It reared its head this week against the Boston Bruins, against the Philly Flyers, and against the Winnipeg Jets. Now, there's been some problems right here. You look at these things and you say starting on time is a problem that you need to do. They're taking teams as well that are out of the playoffs too lightly, and that is becoming a problem for the Leafs. They need to grow on this. They need to get this bigger, better, badder, and be ready to rock and roll. So they need to start on time. That's the bad thing right now. They're not starting on time, taking too lightly. And then here's the other thing. Signs of being too dipsy-doodle fancy on the power play. Holy smokes, guys. There's been so many opportunities. And I know I talked to Thomas Caberlet once. I'll show you the picture. I asked him why he didn't shoot more. And I got laughed out of the building. I know we all screamed for them to shoot, but at least, Jesus, Murphy, there's so many passes. Mo had a chance. Marner had a chance. Matthews had a chance. You're screaming shoot. These guys got to shoot. It's starting to creep in. When the power play faltered, they were doing too many passes, and it led to their demise. Keep it simple. Place it on the net. Do what you need to do. Alexander Ovechkin scores that one-timer goal all the time. Teams know it coming, but they cannot shut it down. Use Matthews to the same way. The other thing is Willie Nylander got dropped down to the third line. Why? Because he's not engaged. He's not engaged physically. He's not engaged emotionally with this squad right now. Even when he scored the 2 goals on the power play, he wasn't really jacked up. They really need to get him mentally in. And even Nylander himself said he needs to get back and focused and down to the basics. The team believes in him. He believes in himself. This is a player right now that when he's on, it's Alexei Kovalev all over again. When he's on, he's a world beater. When he's not, he's invisible. And the Leafs need him to be visible throughout. And the problem I'm thinking he's having is with Marner and Matthews and Tavares and a bunch of other names that are doing really well. Morgan Riley, throw him in the mix, really pushes him down the totem pole. And I think Willie likes to be one of the headlines, one of the flashpoints for this team. And if he's not, it becomes a problem. But here we go. This one here is the ugly. The ugly for me is one Petr Mrazek. You signed him to a 3-year deal at $3.8 million per year. This season alone, he's had 3.8 groin pulls. I'm not trying to make a joke. It's true. Go look it up. This guy has a glass groin. And it's not over egregious saves either. It's not diving from post to post or bailing his team out with a flailing save where he injures himself because he had to overextend. Some of them are just simple plays where it pops out. That, to me, is something you cannot bank on, something you cannot say, hey, this is what we're running to the bank with next season and the season after, because he's already had those 3.8 groin pulls at $3.8 million a year. It's just not attainable for the Leafs to keep this guy around. I love what he was able to do, rebounding, coming back, all the hoopla and the noise, and he was able to do it. But I digress. Mr. Petr Mrazek might get the Robidas Island treatment here if that groin cannot shape up. He's done for the regular season. I don't think we see him in the postseason. I think you ride Shalgren and Mr. Jack Campbell and see what you got. I'm glad that the Hutch wasn't clutch and didn't need to be put in the net. Doesn't seem like he's too much on the Leafs roster for the right reasons. All right. So I promised something at the end of the show. This is going to be a segment we do every single week. Our friends over at Boxing Rock Brewing Co., shout out to them. The beautiful Puck Off Lagerdale. If you're out east, get yourself some. So good, so good. They gave me some of these guys right here. These are the Puck Off Lagered Beards. They're for the playoffs, but playoffs are a little bit away yet. So I figured, why not do a segment each week, because the Maple Leafs are blue, the logo for them is white. Look at that. Why not have this one be the Boxing Rock Bearded Blue Warrior of the Week? So that's the Boxing Rock Bearded Blue Warrior of the Week. We pick one player that is a warrior for that week. We put on the beard and we salute them, and they win their own Boxing Rock Blue Beard of the Week. And this week, the player right there is Mr. Mark Giordano. The simple little plays, the things he does on defense, the fact he scored his first goal for his hometown team. The Bearded Blue Warrior of the Week for me is Mr. Mark Giordano, proudly brought to you by Boxing Rock. So each week we will do a Boxing Rock Bearded Blue Warrior segment. We'll pick a player and we'll explain why. This week it's easy. It's Mark Giordano. These babies will be making their debuts for the playoffs as well. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is Sunday. This is where you will see this show on YouTube. This right here is the Leafs Weekender, a half an hour wrap for the Leafs week that was. Thank you for checking it out. Make sure you watch the replay wherever it's available for you, but it's exclusively on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning on in.